All right. I believe we are live, presumably. So I will wait for others to arrive should they decide to. Just as a quick, what are we doing and all that good stuff. We are testing out some new software, flight log and flight recorder. Two softwares. One is kind of on a beta testing. It isn't actually released, and flight log is sorry, flight recorder. I'll get it right. Flight recorder is released in the sim marketplace via Canuck Air Simulations. All right. So we're going to sit here at Kingsford in Australia, and we're going to go up to Brisbane. So those that want to take along are welcome to do so. Departure will probably be probably in 20 minutes, 30 minutes from now. I'll get some time for people to maybe jump in and participate. What I'm looking for is well, is it not showing live? It should be showing live. Now, am I streaming live here? Am I streaming? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Content. No. Well, I don't know what I'm doing. Shorts live. Sign into chat. No. Okay. Get that in there. Next. Let me get that in there. Next. Next. Oh. So it is taking me, there's nobody here yet, but it's taking me a minute to get set up. And I am set up. I will kind of reiterate again, just um, so we understand where we're at with this. We're doing a flight from YSSY to YBBN, Kings to Brisbane, I believe it is, in our 747. We're gonna do it cold and dark. We'll go through the startup procedure. We'll do, well, we'll do a typical flight. Um, this is also gonna try to showcase two pieces of new software: flight log, excuse me, flight log, and flight recorder. Well, flight recorder, yes, flight recorder. Oh, I'm believing this. I don't do a lot of live, so bear with me. I'll wait for some additional viewers to attend and so forth, should there become one. It appears that there is one. Welcome aboard. As stated, I'm doing a flight from Kingsford YSSY to YBBN Brisbane, showcasing some new software, flight recorder and flight log, as you see on my screen. I'm going to hold off a little bit before we get ready to depart and start setting up for those that might want to kind of tag along and come and join in. I fly on the US East server. So if that's what you want to do, we are in Flight Sim 2024. So I'll pause here for a bit, and we'll get a few other people coming in, and we'll get set up. Make some comments in the chat box there for chat, so I know you're available and you are there. And actively, if you have any questions or any ideas or thoughts about what we're doing and how we're doing it, get me to hold off, take off, whatever you prefer. So I'll pause and I'll go get myself another cup of tea, and I will be back shortly. All right, we are we're going to start going through some of the early setups for a departure. We are have I listed that anywhere? I think I have. Excellent. Okay. Okay. I think I've got everything set up. Let me get on my on here. All right, that is working. So that is working. Yeah. So now we're going to start the process. I will explain ever so slightly some of the software, but this isn't really about explaining that. This is more about doing a flight utilizing the software, and those that are interested in kind of to tag along and interested in coming to fly or whatever, by all means, go ahead and do that. Let me know in the comments here that we're in chat if you're planning to come tag along with us. I will repeat myself for those that are joining that aren't seeing what's going on. So we are departing Kingsford YSSY on our way to Brisbane YBBN. In our default, let me turn this off. In our default Boeing 747 freighter, it looks like. I didn't realize that this was a freighter edition, or that there was even a freighter edition in 2024. Appears to be. I will also, for those that are wanting to watch, where did my, there it is. I'll also have my transmitter turned on. And so those can kind of, those that are interested in wanting to see what's what there are you can go there and watch my plane, hopefully. Be mindful of that there are times where apparently by a plane if you're viewing it on, say, a little nav map or Plan G, sometimes my transmitter goes out and doesn't always stay connected as well as I'd like it to, but it is what it is. A friend of mine, Razor, he tells me about it all the time, that it's not always working. Okay, so I assume I'm coming in loud and clear. I am going to turn my audio off down just a bit. We don't need to hear the engines as much. And I think what we'll do is we'll start. I haven't seen anybody say they're coming along and tagging along, so I'll presume that there isn't anybody. And I will continue to go through some of the setup process and getting the engine or getting the aircraft ready for departure. And if somebody does tag along and want to tag along, and go ahead and send me in the chat that you're here trying to get set up, and I'll wait. In the meantime, let's get back in the cockpit. Let's get back into the overhead. Now, because this aircraft does not have an EFB or a flight bag over there, we'll be utilizing the EFB itself. I will be using Navigraph. Those that have seen some of my YouTube videos will know that I typically don't use Navigraph, but I will be utilizing it to some degree. How much, I don't know, but I will be using it. Those that are watching the video and want to critique me on my lack of flying ability, you're welcome to do that because I'm certainly not an expert pilot. But I just thought it would be a fun late night Central Time, midnight little flight to do here. And so that's why I'm doing it. What do we got? We got about an hour and a half flight, block to block. Got a cup of nice hot tea. Let's get busy. Let's get busy. Let's go up here. Battery on. Ground power, or yeah, ground power. We'll turn that on. Get your emergency lights turned off. We'll get this turned on right away. I know in some planes we got to have that on right away. Okay, so we're coming alive. So the way you get the flight plan in here is you have this add-on, the sim dispatcher add-on in your sim. If you don't have it, you do need that. But you click on that, and because we do have the flight, we do have the flight plan set up. Let me get rid of some of these things here. I think I'll come down here, put that on, put that off. No. See, I'm clicking on windows that I shouldn't be. So there we got our flight plan. If anybody's interested, you can see that's the flight plan right there. And that's what we're doing. Move that back over. Bring that back up. Bring that up. Bring that up. I'll turn those things on later. And so when we hit the import through that SimBrief add-on, it should load the flight plan into the EFB, and then we import the route, and it should put the route into the sim. If we look down here, we see that we can execute that. I'll close this off for now. We can execute that. Now, what is the next step? Our next step, go back up here, and that's all turned on. We'll put these all on. Turn this all on. Strobe is on. And we'll get the APU up and running here shortly. In the meantime, we're going to come down here and start doing some configuring, as it were. I'm far from an expert at this, so let's go here, go to position. So we are departing. This little thing here is in the wrong spot. YSSY. Put that in there. Route. So you note that it has put in the destination and the arrival because of the EFB. Can we request the route? I believe that's how we do it. Okay. Yeah, so we load it. And we activate and we activate. That should have the flight plan in. Now, where are we here? Altitude is 29,000, so let's put in 29,000. Sorry, I'm getting a little quiet. 127, 127 is our index. I think we better, oops, I think we better go into here and go into settings and weight and balance and get this set up as well. So our cargo is 221 665 is cargo. Passenger says we got 23 passengers. It's kind of odd that we got that many passengers. I think we'll put in 2, or maybe we can't even put 2. I had this, if anybody knows why, in the comment section or in the chat, whichever. But I had this earlier. I was doing this flight and I was trying to put packs in, and it just keeps on taking the packs out. Zero fuel weight is 599,264, and the fuel is 54,800. 54,860 actually. Okay. So we got that set, and then we can back out of here and we can go back to the index and ident, and we'll just breeze through this quickly, get ourselves to where we were. Zero fuel weight again. We should now be able to click that, and that's basically right. Our reserve we're going to put in is going to be 15,000, not 150,000. And our thrust. So I will find the temperature. FYI, if you don't know where your temperature settings are in your SimBrief flight plan, if you open up a search window and you click on PDF and you type in temp, you will see your SEL temp 48 right there. So we'll put that in, and we're going to use full toggle for takeoff. That should do it. Flaps will be 10. CG will be set. 6655. 5 is, hang on, let me just verify that number. Estimated takeoff is not that. Let me, estimated takeoff is 652.1. Put that in there. Okay, I think mostly that's done. We have decided we're going to climb out to 29,000, so I'll put all that in there and get that ready. Oop. Okay. Flight directors will be set. Departing on runway 160, so I'll just, I'll get this. Whoa. I'm pushing the wrong buttons, aren't I? Trying to get that. Well, I'll use my heading controller thing. 160. Close enough. Close enough. Okay. What are we left with here? What are we indeed left with? We are left with, the engines are shut off as they should be. The TCAS has been turned off. This WIF switch is down here somewheres, I think. Maybe not. We'll fix that. Why does it say it's still off? Did I not change that? Yeah. Oh, sorry. I think this is where it needs to be, right? Yeah. Okay. So now we are ready to push back. What did I say the runway was that we were going to? 16 left. 16 left is right there. Is that left? Yeah, that's left. And we're parked right there. So I guess I will push the tail. Yeah. Let's get back inside and we'll get the APU started. Have I missed anything up here? I don't think so. APU is starting, I believe. Engines, cabin temp, fuel, and I can't remember that switch, the WA switch. I know on one of the planes I had found something down here, but I got a feeling that's an Airbus thing. So where is that switch? Well, I guess yeah, I can't remember where that is. So anybody know where it is? Put it in the chat or in the comment sections, and then I'll know for the next time where that actually is. Trim is 4.9, so we need to back that up a bit. Oop. There we go. Okay. That's not what I want. Okay. Okay, so I'm ready to start pushing back, I believe. I'll just repeat again for those that are here watching. We are leaving YSSY on our way to YBBN Brisbane, and we are testing out some new software. Bring that up. Let me turn that on. No, that's not what I want. What's happened here? I don't want that. I want this and this. So we're testing out these two pieces of new software, and we're about to start utilizing the flight log. This is still in beta testing. It's actually not released yet. And the flight recorder is released on early access right now. Can be found at SimMarket. Looking for Canuck Air simulations and flight recorder. Right. We're going to load up we're going to load up this, and we'll briefly have a quick conversation about what this is. So what this is this is a flight logger. It will allow you to capture all of your flights, but this time actually capture them all. It's been my experience in 2020 and 2024. Not always do your flights get captured. So here you can see some flight data, and it's capturing and it's giving you the total amount of hours flown. Most of this stuff has been in testing. As I said, this is kind of in beta. It's very close to being released, but I just wanted to kind of give a bit of a preview of it, so when it does drop, people understand what it actually is. So we can import the flight plan if you have a flight plan on your desktop somewhere, it's like a PLN file, or you can use your SimBrief loader. And when you do that, you will see this little window here. You put your your ID in there, and away you go. So you put that in, and now once you've done that, now the flight plan has actually been loaded in here, and you see there's some notification down here which isn't quite right, and again, that's why it's in beta. But you know, this is where we're taking off and all that good stuff. So for now, that is what this is. This is just going to log the flight. We're gonna taxi. We're gonna take off. We're gonna land. And when we land, we're gonna get a little bing sound and a little notification giving us our landing rate and telling us this has logged the flight. And in here, you will see the flight being logged in there. So we're gonna turn that off, and then we're gonna draw our attention to the other one. Once I figure out how to turn that off, like thusly. So now we're gonna draw our attention to this and how this works and what this is. This is a bit more complicated, not complicated, but it's more in depth, I should say. Complicated might not have been the right word. We can connect to the sim, and we're going to start getting some live telemetry from the aircraft in here. So we will see things like, we will see things in here like our altitude, our airspeed. Note that we're seeing speed here because this is measuring airspeed, not ground speed. This is ground speed, your vertical, your pitch, your bank, and lat long. And you see all of these various different things. Engines, we are using a 4-engine aircraft, but should we only be using a 2-engine aircraft, then only these two would light up and these ones would not. So that's kind of what this is, and I'll go through it kind of as we use it, but I want to quickly touch base on some of the things. We have this software is a 3-tiered piece of software. It's a flight data recorder, but it's also a live flight data, so you can see it happening live if you don't use the recorder part. It's a playback utility. You can play back your entire flight after you've flown it, landed, turned it off. You can play back your entire flight, and we'll go through that window and see how that looks. And you can see it second by second, at 15 minutes and 1 hour 15 minutes and 19 seconds in the flight. What was the condition of the flight? And it will show you all of these metrics here. I will just quickly I will show that information. Let me just bring this up, and you can see that's kind of what that new window will look like. You'll load the CSV file after it's produced, but we'll talk more about that when we get there. Okay, so let's get some of this stuff rolling and moving. We have been sitting here for quite a while, so let's get started. And just draw your attention to the information you're seeing on here. So I'm going to press start record. And what this is now doing is this is now recording as if you were in a real flight and you were recording to your black box, as it were. That's what this is now doing. So let's we'll go through the rest of the startup process, push back, and all those good things, and we'll do some taxiing, and we'll talk about more about this stuff and more about the flight and whatever else we end up talking about. All right. And as I said many times, say it again, I'm not an expert pilot. So if I've missed some things that I should have done, you know, put in the chat, put in the comment section. I'm happy to hear your comments. Okay. Now, I have to refresh myself to see where I'm at because I can't remember what all I did or didn't do. Yeah, that's it. So we are ready for pushback. I generally use this toolbar pushback. Really great utility. I love it. It works. Generally, it works okay. I've had some times where in pushing back, the aircraft has done some silly things. Usually not, but I've had it. So we'll just do a manual pushback, and we'll just do a. See, it's done it again. It's decided to turn off one direction, but that's okay. So we're pushing back. I'm going to wait and push back here, and we'll turn the tail in. We are kind of cramped in here, aren't we? Yeah, we're a little cramped in. We'll have to make some creative turnouts from here. So I'm just going to let it turn out ever so slightly, and then I can get around that guy, and then we'll call that pushback and ready to go. I think we'll call that good. Yeah, I think we'll call that good. Stop, put the brake on, get that going. And now let's what? Oh, you know what I have done here? No, I did put the APU on. What is that other button right there? That's kind of a weird. Anybody seeing that? It's almost like there's two APU dials. That's weird. That's just really weird. Well, we'll get it figured out. I notice this isn't lit up either, so I have definitely messed something up. I guess I gotta try to figure out what it is. APU gens are available. I didn't turn the APU gen on, and that was the reason why that went dark. Yep, that is what it is. All right. I think we're ready to start. Indeed, I think we are. Okay, let's do just that. Now, where are the starter switches? I can't. It's been a while since I've started this plane. Let me. Isn't that interesting? I can't remember where are the starters. I know where the fuel is. I thought there was an overhead start selector switchy dealy whopper thingy. Bobby, yeah, it's right here. So we pull that out. We should have rotation on engine 4. I think we do. I think that's it's spinning up. Well, maybe not. Maybe I've buggered this up as well. Let's. Yeah, that is not rotating very fast, is it? Engine bleed is on. APU is running. Why would that not be starting? Oop. Yeah, it's pulled out. I think that needed to be pushed in just the same. I think that's what I buggered up. They're just ever so slightly dawdling along. They don't seem to be really rotating, do they? Well, that has come up quite a bit. Yeah, that's coming. I didn't put this on. I don't fly, for those that are watching, I don't fly the triples or the 747 a lot. I do fly, Airbus A321, A20, A320, 777, 737, and so on and so forth. I fly them planes a fair bit, but what we should be seeing here is we should be seeing rotation. We will. Oh, sorry, we are. See over here. I'm looking at this first engine. We're seeing it here because that's number 4 we're starting. So we'll flip the fuel on, and we should see that rolling up, and our pounds per hour is going to start increasing, and so on and so forth. I apologize for it taking as long as it has to get myself going here. So those that are watching, I apologize that you've had to suffer through this this nonsense of me getting it started. You're all sitting there going, just push the buttons, just push the buttons. Meanwhile, I'm struggling like crazy trying to figure this out. But now we have engine 4 effectively running. We'll get the rest of them up and running here shortly. Engine 1. So engine 4 is rotating. It's running. We're going to get number 1 rotating here right away, and there it comes up. Again, we'll see on the flight recorder, you're seeing N1 rolling up and so forth, and the as these engines come up online, we're going to see all of this kind of light up and ready to go. I don't know if engine 4 is actually fully online yet. It does say that it is. Oh, I got to put the fuel on. Put the fuel on. So we should see N1 coming up on engine 1 now. Just about cut that one up. Looks like it is. We'll get the other one going. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Let's do that. So, oh, I haven't turned this on. I apologize. I've been talking about this as if it's on. Right. So you can see that the engine 4, its N1 is live, its fuel flow is live, engine 1 is fuel flow is alive, N1 is live, N3 engine 3 is now coming online, so we should have engine 3 up and running here shortly. Put the fuel on. And that one should be up here in a second or two, and then we'll get the other one up, and we'll get the aircraft just cleaned up a little bit. We'll get some flaps ready to go, and we'll begin our taxi. Again, anybody interested in coming to fly, I am sitting at YSSY. I'm flying Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. and we are in the East, US East server. Hey, wait a minute. Am I on US East? I better verify that. I did some juggling around, and I may not actually be on. Yeah, I am. Sorry. I was messing around on another server, and I just couldn't remember. Did I accidentally not turn that one on? All right, let's get the final engine number 2 up. All right. We'll flip the fuel on. So for those that are watching and who don't go through this whole process of setting a plane up and getting it ready to roll, if you just drop it on the runway, push the throttles forward and go, it appears that we've taken a very long time. But for those that are used to setting up a plane in this fashion, you'll very quickly realize it hasn't taken an exorbitant amount of time. This is kind of, for me anyways, this is kind of what every flight will actually take for me. I'm pretty much going to be in this ballpark in terms of time. So we've got fuel flow on all of the engines. We got N1 on all of the engines. We are ready for taxi, and we're going to do that. Now, I am going to refer to this from time to time for new people coming into the chat, so they might not understand, what we're doing. And so I will bring that up from time to time for those people that are going to end up watching this there after the stream. I apologize for the repetitiveness, but yeah. All right. Let's go in the overhead and let's just make sure that we are configured and set up to do what we're supposed to do. All that is live. We're going to turn off the APU. We don't need that any longer. APU can go off. Shut that off and leave that all on. And okay, now we will put our taxi on. Put on some lights, and I think we'll taxi. We're not too terribly far in terms of a taxi to the runway, but we'll be going down Kilo Charlie to Lima, I guess, or maybe Bravo 10. I think we'll use Bravo 10, which will take us over, and so we can. I'll just bring this up. You can see there we are. So we'll go down Kilo Charlie, and we'll take Bravo 10 and get on the runway and blast off. All right. I'm going to turn this off, so hopefully I don't forget that in the future. So we're just going to spin them up a little bit. So I'm usually pretty mindful of how I taxi, and I'm somewhat courteous to even the real world planes. Speaking of which, I'm going to turn that on. I did not turn that on. I utilize the injector through the Navracraft connection or injection or whatever now that they've allowed us to use that. So I'm going to do that as well. And I should check quickly just to make sure that's turned off, because that has to be turned off in order for it to work. Yeah. And let me just make sure that all my graphic settings have been set the way they're supposed to be. They are. I've had some times where my graphic settings have changed on me and not been able to understand why. One of the things that we're doing now is we've gotten rid of all of the tags. We should still see anybody, live simmers flying in here. We should still see them. All right, here we go. On to kilo. We note that that N1 is rolling up and the fuel is going up. The pounds per hour are going up because we're using fuel, right? And you note that the throttle is going up as well. We're turning on to Charlie right now. Bit of a zigzag here on Charlie. Turn that down a bit. We don't need to hear that. So yes, for those that are watching this there after the fact, we are using Flight Recorder. It's effectively a data recorder, a black box, as it were. Oh, I think this is going to be a little goofy coming across here, isn't it? I don't think the ooh, that hole is not going to be good for us. We're going to get stuck in that. Well, we need to have some airport maintenance. Wow, that was that's something. We need to get some airport maintenance on them two bridges there. Okay. Anyways, back in the sim. So Bravo 10 is coming up, and we'll turn on Bravo 10. We'll turn left on Bravo 10. I believe that's the right direction. First one is Bravo 10, I believe. It is. See it right there. And I want the first one because we are large, and we'll need as much of the runway as we can, I think, for takeoff. Well, let us set our flaps before we forget that. We're doing 10. Ooh, get on the run on the taxiway. I'll verify my flap setting once I'm at the threshold, and we'll get ready for blast off. Yeah, so I mean, we started this whole sequence in getting it ready to go, and it's taken us a few minutes, but there isn't real pilots, and I'm far from a real pilot, but there isn't real pilots that's just jumping a plane and 3 seconds later they're in the sky, unless they just throw fuel. What? Tinkering. Yeah, that's another one. I got to figure out what that is. I don't know the aircraft very well, so I'm going to apologize ahead of time, more so, and I shouldn't be stopping here, but I'm going to be. Because I wanted to check my flaps and make sure I got my flaps set right. Yeah, see, I don't. We're flaps 20. We won't be flaps 10. And so according to this, we are ready for blast off. My good friend Don or Razor would tell me, let's kick the tires and light the fires, is what he would say. Let's turn on LNAV, VNAV, and let's roll her on the runway. Might got a little smaller, but I do want that up so you can see as we do that it's live and it is actually doing what it's supposed to do. We are using Flight Recorder version 2.0.7.1, and there is others in development. For example, 2.0.8 is in development, and the schedule for 2.0.9 has already been set. We already kind of have an idea of what's going to be coming into that version, as well as 2.8, 2.0. 8.8, I should say. We kind of know what's in there. This one is hard coded. It is what it is, and this is what's on the sim marketplace. Look for Connect Air simulations and or flight recorder. It should come up. All right. We are going to use Toga. Let's get the engine stabilized. It's around 40%. They're all equal. And let's do things. B1. Rotate. Oh. That's our checklist. Gear up. And we are out of here. So we're in the air, and we should be following the magenta line, as you can see. Right, let me bring that in. So we're following the magenta line. That is our flight plan. One thing I didn't do, and I should quickly go look at. Let me just make sure I've got no weird anomalies in here. Let me look at this. I did check this, I believe, but it's been a while, so let me just verify that I did. What is our arrival? 19 left. 19 left. It doesn't look like I did pick that, so I will pick that now and get that out of the way. Okay. Let me go back to here. I'm just going to toggle through here and make sure again. Oh, see, I do have one. Okay. Okay, so we are gone. We are one with the sky, as it were. Now, see, I've got what I think is quite a delay in the video, so I'm not sure why that is the case, because, but that's okay. My first go at this, I'm not going to worry about it. Looks like we're about an hour into the recording, or into the stream already, and we've got another hour and 10 minutes of flight to get to our destination. And if I remember correctly, the total from block to block, or total flight, was an hour and 40 minutes. So, yeah, we've invested in an hour to get on the runway and blast off. Now, some of that hour was spent setting some stuff up and purposely waiting. My intentions were to take off at Central Time. My intentions were to take off at 12:30 a.m. Central Time. We're a little late. I'm guessing we probably did take off around 12:45. So we're about 15 minutes late on the departure. But we are in the sky and we are flying. I'm going to, unless there's some people coming in and the chat becomes a little more active, I'm probably not going to spend a lot of time discussing various different things like so many other simmers might do. Because if there's nobody here, why am I talking to people that aren't here? I do get the odd person coming in, and welcome whoever joined. We're doing a flight from YSSY to BYYN, Brisbane. So we're going to let this thing climb, and I'm going to keep the flight recorder up so that we can kind of view and see what it's doing. And you can see, we're climbing. There's our altitude, there's our airspeed, our ground speed, our vertical climb rate, right? Almost 1,200 feet a minute. There's our pitch, our bank angle. Our angle is what it is. And you can see the plane kind of ever so slightly turning and whatnot. Let me... Yeah, and so you can see, where our lat and long is, our heading, where we're flying toward, and all this good stuff. The stall and overspeed, we should never really see anything in there because I'm not intentionally going to want to overspeed. I do have to do this and this, and I should actually do some cleanup here quickly. No, our altitude is such that we don't need that on, and that is off already. Sure, let's put those on, I guess. It wanted those on, I guess. Some warning message about that. Right. So back to our program here. So the warning, as I was saying, the warning and the overspeed, we shouldn't really see anything in there. It looks like, our throttles are at 91% ish, and our N1 is at 92.9. And if you're looking at the stream down here in this lower left corner, you see that's kind of where my engines are, is 93%, which is accurate. And the fuel flow is going to start coming down. We're not going to have quite as high fuel flow as we get going. Obviously, on takeoff, we had significantly higher fuel flow. The flight recorder is recording all of this data. All of this information is being recorded, and it's being recorded when we land and we do press the stop record button. It will create a CSV file, and all that data will be in that CSV file that we will later on be able to come to the playback viewer and watch it. All right, I am going to pause here, and I'm going to let the plane fly. If we got something that comes up where it requires some attention, I'll probably pop back in and converse with chat and or the sim, because we've had some situations or whatever. If not, then I will let this thing go until we get to the point where we're maybe 50-ish, 100 miles out from top of descent, and I will pick up the flight once again once we reach that position. If there is any comments that anybody does want to put out there in the chat or in the comment section later on, if you're watching this there after the fact, I will get back to you guys as we get closer to top of descent. Stay tuned. we'll start getting ready for our top of descent. As I said, we'd use, we're going to use both Navigraph. So we'll pull that over. And we'll just have a quick peek at Navigraph for those that haven't used this before, but this is our flight. So you can see there was our flight, our departure, and all that good stuff is all in here. So we can come down here and we can see that I'm coming in on 19 left. So let me find 19 left, and it's right there's one. Oh, I saw it right there's 19 left. And you can see there the initial is 4,000. When we come in on the initial will be 4,000. We'll come in. So this is kind of Navigraph, and it's a great piece of software. And there's way more to this than I'm showing you. All I really wanted to know was that. So now I'm going to also do the same thing on here for those that are not using that. Note that we put the flight plan in using this. And so we have the same concept, right? We get the map. If we go down here, arrivals. Oh, Boston. That's clearly not right. That was still left over from my last flight. So we'll click on that. So there's our departure. There's our arrival. Let me 19 left. Excuse me. That's what I did wrong. Gotta click on this thing, not that one. Arrival 19 left. 19 left. There we go. Approach. ILS. This is the one we picked before. I can just click on that, and I can see we got the same concept, same chart, and you can push it to here, and then when you do that, if you go here to here, yeah, and save charts there, so you have access to that chart again. So they both do the same thing. They both give you, good data. Some will say Navigraph is better, and others will say not so much. You decide for yourself. Apologize for the cough, but you decide for yourself whether you think it's better or not. And I mean, each to their own. I do like Navigraph. I think Navigraph is a pretty brilliant piece of software. Of course, the biggest issue that hinders here is we have a piece of software that's quite good, and before 2024 came along, where we didn't have access to the EFB, it was brilliant. But today we have access to the EFB, which arguably does everything the same ish. You're not having to pay for AirX cycles and all that kind of stuff. Presumably this is up to date. There is some downsides to the EFB in the sim, and one of the significant downsides is that aircraft developers such as PMDG and Init Builds that I know for sure, in their third-party add-in aircrafts that you buy, they don't work well with this. So you're still kind of stranglehold into having to utilize Navigraph if you want to have updated, nav data. Charts and all that are still here. You can use the EFB for charts and all that kind of stuff. So that's still all there. Have we had a close to a miss, or what have we missed here? There's a plane here, streaking in the skies. But somehow has gone streaking past us. I don't know. let's look in here. Oh, I see. So that guy is just going that much faster than us, I guess. Bombardier. He's going where we're going. Don't get this live yet. So that's the plane that I'm seeing. It's a live flight. That's the plane I'm seeing. He took off from wherever this is, and he's going to where we're going, and that's the aircraft that he's flying in. Oh, here, CGR-7. There it is. Okay. I just saw that stream up in the sky, and I thought, wow, that's weird. Okay, so we can see that we're coming closer to top of descent. We are about 100 miles out from top of descent, and this is kind of where I'll generally start thinking about my approach in. What am I going to do? How am I going to do it? Now, I'm not terribly versed in the 747, so will I make some mistakes along the way and on the way in? Probably. Can't remember the last time I actually landed the 747, so it might not be great. I almost never use auto land. I almost always use the autopilot up until 3, 4, 5 miles away from the runway, and then I'll disconnect. Once I'm stabilized, I've got a good stable approach. I feel good about my approach. My angle of attack is good. My descent rate coming down to the runway, all that's good, and everything else. The other thing that I generally do at this point is I start thinking about. Pull this over here. So we're coming in on this runway here. So I start looking at at the airport, where because we're a cargo, I want to try to see if I can find a cargo spot that will accommodate this beast of a thing. We may not find one, in which case, yes, we do. We got one right there. I'm assuming that's a large cargo. This is a thing that doesn't always come up, and I don't know why. Every now and again, like if you put your cursor on one of these, you'll see it pop up. Oh, hang on. This is in the way. So you'll see it every now and again. You get that little pop up. It'll tell you what kind of a jetway it is. It's a small one, and it does it here too. There we go. Large ramp. Okay, so that's where we're going to head for. So, and I do this because I know I'm coming in here. I'm probably going to take it right to the end. Because where did I find my parking? My parking was back there. So yeah, I'll probably take it right to the end, right? And then I'll probably, so I'll turn off on Alpha 9, which looks like turns into Bravo 9 at some point. Probably come down Bravo over to Charlie 8, I guess, and wrap around Charlie 8 and get into our parking spot. That's kind of what I do. And so this is what I do, when I'm about 100 miles out. So I got this all kind of wrapped and played around in my head, and I kind of know what my plan is. I used to not do this. I used to just kind of wing it. But I always find myself kind of trying to juggle 14 things as it is already on coming out approach. And those that are flying in the sim with some level of exactness, you guys will get what I mean. Because that's generally what I try to do. I generally try to have that certain level of exactness when I'm coming in. You already got a lot going on, right? So let's we're flying the Boeing, so we can go ahead and turn that sucker down to well, that doesn't work in here, does it? That's all right. When I say it doesn't work, I have an autopilot panel, and sometimes it doesn't work very well, and I don't know why. Some aircraft it works really, really well with, and others not so much. Sometimes if I reset it, it'll work. I'm not sure, but our initial was 4,000, so that's what we're set for, is 4,000. It's weird that is 4,000 to me. Let me revisit that again. So why are we coming in so high when Airport is on the coast. There's no mountains. There's no, well, I guess there is this little bump here. But there's no altitude to that, right? 1,100 feet, 450 feet. So I don't know why we're coming in at 4,000. I mean, we stepped down pretty quickly to 3,000. I think I'll set mine for 3,000. You can see the step here, right? So we initial 4,000, then we step down to 3,000, and then we have a really relatively quick adjustment down to 1,500 and so forth and so on. So I think I'll do that. Let me look at my radio. There it is. Yeah, 110 right there. Okay, so that's been set. What was it again? 110.10. I have a radio stack as well. And that's what I'm doing right now is I'm just adjusting that so that I have it set for 110.10. Like I say, I try to get all this stuff configured and set up so that it's ready to go when we get going. So runway is relatively long. It's a 11,600 foot runway. We do need to go all the way to the end, and so we'll probably use auto brake 3, I think. Might even use auto brake 2. I might use 2. Generally it stops pretty quick, although there is a lot of weight on this thing. No, I'll use auto brake 3 because I'm better off to use 3. I can always dial the braking back and disconnect the auto brake and all of that if I need to further along the way. So I'll use auto brake 3. We will arm the speed brakes, and we may use speed brakes on the way down, so that you're seeing that's the reason why I haven't armed them yet, because I may actually require the speed brake on the way down, depending on how well the aircraft slows down on the descent. And you know, presumably I won't miss top of descent, as some people might know that I do from time to time. I should set one other thing I should set. So our runway heading is 169. 169? No, 196, a little dyslexic. 6. So I'm going to set my bank relatively aggressive. When we get to, we're going to have a bit of a teardrop when we turn back in again, and I want it to turn relatively sharp-ish. I won't have full 25 degree, but I'll have a 20 degree bank, and I'm going to have myself slowed down. Presumably, I'm going to have myself slowed down a fair bit before that teardrop turn. So that I can kind of achieve the actual turn in and follow the flight path, that I'm not, you know, so far out of alignment. And we will be using, we'll enable localizer to pick up the localizer, switch over to auto approach. That will bring us in line. We'll get ourselves nicely in line, and the idea is we'll slow down, flap, 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 slow down, get stabilized approach, disconnect the autopilot, land the plane. That's what we're going to do. I'm given to understand that pilots do a similar briefing, probably much more in depth than what I've just done, but a similar briefing so that everybody knows what's going to go on. That's assuming everything is going to go off without a hitch. Should it not go off without a hitch, we will mash the throttles forward again and take off. We'll fly a pattern, come around, and come back in. So, I think we've got ourselves briefed quite well. You may not see all of the flight because I do want to keep this up so that you're seeing, what's happening with the flight itself in conjunction with my flight recorder. So we should see all of these numbers, and all of the stuff is going to be changing. This is a constant. Lat long is always changing, obviously. Presumably, I won't get into a stall or I won't get into an overspeed. All that will go off without a hitch. But you will see airspeed, ground speed, all these things start to transition and change as we turn and bank and start descending and all that. And so that's kind of why I'm going to try to leave this up so that it's there, that you can kind of witness how it works. Obviously, you're seeing this for the first time and likely haven't purchased the flight recorder yet. And so this gives you kind of a bird's eye view of what it does and how it works throughout a live flight, an entire flight. And likewise, we haven't talked much about this one. It's been kind of hanging out in the background. So the flight logger it's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. It's kind of logging a flight. It's seeing what our altitude is, our heading, our indicated speed, our vertical speed, and this is live, right? So you're actually seeing the kind of the ebb and flows of what's going on here. This is in still beta. This is not released yet, and so there may be some adjustments to what you actually see, but fundamentally it will be like this. This is going to change once we get on ground, and once we land, we're going to hear a small little bing sound. You may not hear it on the street, but there'll be a little bing sound, and there'll be a little window that'll be accessible to click on and to see what your landing rate was and all that kind of stuff. Once you get on ground and you get that little window, this will already then be populated, and we'll see the 747 in here and the departure and arrival, the max altitude, the max speed, the max and all that good stuff. And it will tally to our logged flight, the amount of hours. The idea behind this is, as I said at the beginning, is that we want to make sure that we're no longer held hostage by the various different sims. Getting a new sim, our new log is 0. We've got 0 hours in. Here, with this, you're going to be able to have your log all the way through. You'll never lose your log again. You'll always have your total flight hours being displayed here. You can utilize, the Sims log as well, but in using this, you will have a combination of logs between 2024 and 2020, right? So those that flew 2020, you have a full logbook there, but then when you got into 2024, you had none, and vice versa. With this, when you utilize this, you will log every flight. It will actually log every flight. Like sometimes it doesn't, but it will log every flight. And you'll always have access to go back to the dashboard and see your logs. This is right now only displaying a notepad document or a text document. As I said, this is still in beta. This is going to be changed so that you'll actually have a PDF that you'll be able to click on this and get a nice, kind of a detailed view of a PDF document of what you flew and that kind of stuff. That's the general consensus. So I'm going to get rid of that guy again. And we are a whisker from... Hang on now. We are a whisker from our top of descent, as you can see right there. So we'll pull this in just ever so slightly, like so. I like to have that a little tighter in. 20 miles is, 20 miles is good. Now let's have 40 miles out. And we're flying a Boeing, so presumably the throttles will come back. And as they come back, and they have already, you can see the N1 is pulling back. You can see the throttles have come back down to 62%, 61%. The fuel flow has come down as well, which means we're getting set to put the nose down and start coming down. We're just about to top of descent, and that's what it's getting ready to do. The default, I'll just say that up to this point, the default 747 is pretty decent. I mean, it lacks in some of the tools that some of us are used to using, you know, like the flight bag. But again, for those that are willing to work with different tools, there's a flight bag. So it is there, right? You've got the same kind of access that you do with everything else, right? You got a nice map there that you can look at the entirety of your flight and watch it. One thing I wish they would do is they would color this one in separately, or a different color from all of the other aircraft. That would be a neat thing if they could just, you know, give us a red plane, a yellow plane, whatever, pick a color. Because right now we're seeing all these other planes, and all these other planes we're seeing, I believe, are live flights that are actually flying around in the world right now. So, but it would be nice if they would identify our aircraft, and maybe that is possible. If somebody knows that, comment section, chat window, wherever, put it in there. Let us know that can be done, because as far as I know, that can't be done. Although I haven't investigated it too much. We are on our way down, 2,100 feet a minute, and it looks like we're in, you know, our profile is in good shape. I will arm our speed brake. Oh, that's not arming it. That's arming it. So we got our speed brake armed. We'll set our auto brake. I believe we talked we're going to have auto brake 3. That's what I said. And we're on our way down. Oh, you know, I think I had decided I was going to make this 3,000, not 4,000, based on the chart. Let's just have a quick peek at that chart one more time. Here. Come on now. This is not the right chart. That's interesting. That's what I said. That was some other chart I was looking at. I'm not sure what. Yeah. So we can see that 3,000. Initial is 4,000, but 3,000 is the one we want. So I've changed that to 3,000. Returning now. Just going to verify that I have no discontinuities or any of that stuff in here. The last thing we want is that nonsense to happen. Runway there. There's our runway. So that looks good. And down we go. Try to remember what I said on here. To the end, cross over to Charlie 9. And down Charlie 9. Yeah. Okay. Oh, look at that sun. Isn't that pretty? Oh, that's a pretty view. Let's turn that off and not let that get in the way of that view. So, not that I'm saying this is the way it should be done, but when you're flying like this, and you've done a long flight, everything has gone swimmingly, and you've decided to come in on approach, and if you use an auto land system of auto approach, or even just stay on autopilot for a little while longer than, you know, maybe you should, what can happen is I have my sim set up for wake turbulence and all that. That's all there. So if there's a live flight that cuts in front of me, I'm going to feel that wake turbulence. That's number one. Number two, if TCAS is on, TCAS is going to see that aircraft, and I can't control that aircraft whether he's going to be there or not. I'm coming in when I'm coming in, and so I can't control it. So I generally will turn off TCAS at some point. I do kind of look and follow, for example, I'll show it here. I do kind of watch and follow this. So you can see here, this is me coming in. And we don't actually see the, what I'm actually going to do. But what I'm actually going to do is I'm coming in here. I'm going out here, turning around and coming back in. This doesn't show it. And that is because we did not pick the arrival, right? Correct. And I'm not going to mess with that right now. The aircraft knows what it's doing, so we're going to leave that alone. So like I said, I will likely turn off TCAS, and on the 747, it's down here at the beginning of the video. Watch me turn it on. I'll just turn this to standby and call that a day. I'm not going to worry about it just yet because I do have some time. Although there is a number of aircraft in the area, like this guy right here off to my side. He's out at my 3 o'clock. See, can I actually see that guy? I'll see him. I think better safe than sorry. I think what I'll do is I'll turn off TCAS right now. So we are going to get a warning message that TCAS has been turned off right there. And I'm going to say, yeah, that's okay. It's been approved. And if we look down here, we can clearly see, well, not clearly, but we can see the runways here. This is us coming in here. Teardrop out, come back in. Or come back in. I don't know. I don't know which way the direction is that we turn. But we see this is turned off. Let's turn that on. And I'll turn this on before I forget. Hang on, that was on already. I didn't turn it off. That's interesting. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Our profile is still pretty good, right? It's right on the money. So we're good there. And it looks like looks like our speed is a little quick, in my opinion. And I would like to have that slow down, but let's go see. Do they show us a decel here somewhere? No, they do not. Although they say we're supposed to be at 240 at the NDB, the VOR, which is up here. We're supposed to be at 240. I always think that that's too quick. Like, you see that whole thing, that whole circuit is 240, 240, 240. I don't know why. Like, for example, here, why would this say 240 at the runway? That doesn't seem right to me. Now, I will be in flaps and I'll be slowing down well before that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to dial my speed back a little bit. Now, this might create some problems at some point, but I'm going to get myself to 240 to start with. And here's when I talked about potentially using some speed brake. You see the speed? Now, we're still holding profile, so that's not bad, and we are coming down. So I'll hold it like that. But if you're doing this, and you're starting to see this starting to come down, but you're also starting to see your profile kind of get a little ahead of yourself, like it is a little bit. It's not bad. It's only 20 feet out, or 30 feet out. There, it jumped up to 31 feet. So I'm not worried about that. We'll get that back in a big hurry. But if that starts jumping up to, in the hundreds, you might start putting some speed brake in, right? Just so you understand, for those that don't know this, you're chasing the diamond, as it were. So when the diamond is up here, that means I'm too low. When the diamond is here, wait a minute. Yes, I need to go up. And when it's down here, I'm too high, right? So this says that I'm about 30 feet too high, which is too low, which is not really relevant. We're going to catch the speed here right away. That's going to come together right fine. So I'm not going to worry about changing anything. And ideally, I would like to be considerably slower than where we are right now. So I'm going to continue to do just that. I'm going to continue to get this thing to slow down. As soon as I start hitting flaps, we're going to be able to start to really, really slow the thing down. And I'm going to get it down to 210 now. $40 feet. See that? Again, but 40 feet on the wrong side of to me, 40 feet on the wrong side of a profile, too high or too low is not relevant. It really, to me, it really isn't. We probably have access to localizer. Let's see. We do. I'm going to hit the B button, and the B button just kind of sets our QNH like it's supposed to be. We're getting ready to turn to begin our fly away from the airport to turn around to come back. What we're going to do now is we're going to come down here and we're going to look at something. No. See, it's saying drag is required. I don't think so. Approach speed is 146 with 30 knot notch flaps 30. So 146 is our final approach speed. Yeah, see, now it's saying that we're too high, but keep in mind it's reading the airport, right? We were at the airport, and now we're gonna go way up there and turn around, and you'll see it's gonna start catching itself up here shortly, hopefully. Like, we still got to fly. What is it? Another 30 miles out. And it's a good thing we changed our TCAS because we got a plane that's coming right for us right now. There's a plane up there. He's at 700 feet. I don't know why he's at 700 feet, but he is. I think we'll follow the recommendation, put some drag on. The aircraft is generally right when it says that to you. So if it tells you you should have some drag out, generally it knows what it's talking about. So we're going to do that. In fact, we're going to put out a fair bit of drag because I can see our speed is increasing exponentially. Get that set. Yeah, we're going to be a little fast. Can I launch a flaps? I can. I'm trying to get the thing slowed down a bit now. So we're coming into where the flaps should still be up, but I only got one notch out, and I'll drop out another notch of flaps here shortly, just again, just to get the aircraft. So we're going to be turning here right away, and we're still 200 knots. And you see our profile is starting to come back in. And we'll do an auto approach. .146 is our on the runway approach speed. So we're going to start getting some flaps out. Speed brake. Gear down. we still got some juggling around here to do, but we're getting it. We're getting after it now. And why do you keep on telling me landing gear? My gear is out. I guess it wanted me to have my gear out a little sooner. We're gonna give this a bit of a look at. The fact that it was telling me it wanted the gear out. I'm probably going to get a warning on the data recorder system of the blender that I made. And you can see, you know, there's a multitude of things that are happening. We'll look at the recorder a little bit, and we'll look at the viewer here. But I'm going to turn this off for right now, so when we land, we're not distracted by that stuff. Our profile is virtually on the money, see? And everything is, let's have a look here. You know, we got mostly everything hanging out. We'll be turning to the left here and lining up. There's the runway. Runway in sight. Continue. Somehow my auto brake came off. I don't know how, but it did. So put that back up. 146 was the initial, was the final. Winds are on the nose at 9 knots. So we'll keep it a little off of 146. I think we'll probably approach it somewhere around 153. I think that'll be our final approach speed. Flaps are full. Configured, stable. So this is what I was saying about before. So we're stable. Everything is configured. Everything is right on the money. You know, our descent angle, our speed isn't out of control. Everything is pretty good. Our speed has been set. All of this is in decent shape. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off the autopilot, and I'm going to leave the speed control on a little bit. And we're just going to let the plane come in. I think the descent rate is a little aggressive. We'll re-engage the autopilot a little bit, and we'll get that back in line. We're just we're going to let that stabilize itself again a little bit. We come in, we're starting to come in a little too low. I'll let it come a little further along the way. Right on the numbers here. So this is where we get to see, you know, how bad or good or mediocre I end up doing with a 747. We're going to disengage, click off the warning, my aircraft. Alright. Give it a little bit of a flare. Still very much pointing to the ground. Remember, we got a long runway, so we're in good shape in terms of runway length. Getting off the line a little bit. Getting a little slow. Continue. We won't use any reverse. In fact, I'm going to shut the auto brake off. And that's us landing here at Brisbane. Put that recorder back on so you can see. I mean, I could actually effectively turn off there, but I won't. As I said, my plan was, if I would have used some reverse thrust, I could have turned off on that taxiway. But I'll go to the end like I said I was going to. So we'll get here and we'll clean the plane up a little bit. Brakes on. Let's clean her up a little bit. Let's get them flaps all the way up. Let's get the APU started. I wonder what that's with that little graphic there. That's kind of weird. And we'll roll again. So second turn off to the right. This being the first one right here. I'll get us to the our parking spot, and then we'll just we'll do a quick overview of the data recorder system, as well as the flight logger. We'll just do a quick overview of what that looks like and all that kind of stuff, and then we'll wrap it up. All the way from Kingsford, YSSY, over to Brisbane. I think that's Sydney. YSSY. I could be wrong. Been wrong before, many times actually. Okay, so here we're going to make our little turn off, and our ramp is just up here around the curve slightly. All the way to the end and around the curve. Somewhere's over there, there's a parking spot for us. Presumably in here. So I'm going to there's our flag dude. Thank you very much, not to run you over, so I'm going to stop there. Brakes on. Okay, I'm not going to go through the whole shutdown process and everything else that I normally would do, because I will shut the engines off. But I want to kind of start to go over some of the things that I said I would talk about when we got at the gate. So first thing is we're going to talk about this utility here, the flight logger, and we're going to. Do you see that little window there? Yeah, that little window right there. So that little window just tells me what the landing rate was. 390, 393. Doesn't feel like a 393. That felt like I greased it on there. So I do think that I need to reevaluate this landing, because I think the metrics that are used in the flight logger, I don't want to say they're not right. I think they are just a little aggressive, and 393 seems to be a bit of aggressive landing. You saw the landing; it didn't feel like 393. Felt pretty smooth coming down. Anyways, when we hit let me get here. When we hit OK to that, that is at the time the data will be written to the logger, and that you will see the time here now change. That has now captured that flight in its entirety of its flight. It says that we're here, and that is where we are. We're on the ground / taxi. True story. We'll quickly look at this part. So you can see we were flying the 747 8 freighter, YSSY takeoff, arrival, YBBN. Our departure, we departed here. We are landed here. Total flight hours were 1 hour and 11 minutes, 16 seconds. Our max ground speed was 323, and our max altitude was 29,026 feet. Our landing rate we discussed, and we have our flight plan here. When we click on this, it will bring up a text document. No, that's the wrong window. How do I size this? There. Oh, wait a minute. That's the wrong window. Is this the... Oh, yeah. There we go. Maybe I got full screen again like it's supposed to. So, jeepers. Okay. So this is the document that I am trying to show it to you. There we go. So that's the text document that you see right now that is coming from the logger, and the link that you see here. That link will change to a PDF, and it'll be a more decent, a better formatted PDF file. Okay. So that's the logger. As I said before a few times, this is beta. This is not full released. This is a beta. It isn't actually released, period, but it will be coming out soon. So stay tuned for the flight logger. And when it's out, I will do a more comprehensive video regarding just this, so that you'll be able to see, a much more detailed version of it. Although this was pretty detailed already. Okay. So what we were actually here for is to do the flight and to see this. So here we are. We're sitting on the ground, parked, and all the metrics are there telling us what we have and haven't done. We've still got the engines running. So I'm going to just do a kind of a real quick, dirty shutdown so that you'll be able to see N1 roll back, and you'll be able to see the fuel flow roll back. And that's really all I want to indicate here. So we'll just click off these things, and we don't care if the whole thing doesn't shut off properly. What you're looking at is the N1 rolling back and the fuel flow rolling back. And we know that the throttles are pulled back to 0 because that's what they are. Okay. Now let's talk about the other side of the flight recorder that you haven't seen. in this video, and that is after you hit stop. Oops, I got to do it over here, not over there. We get this little window here, and it tells us that, hey, in RSC users, app data, blah, 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 programs, connect your flight recorder, flights, you have this CSV file. Okay, that's important to know where that is. However, when you go to the flight data recorder now that has been saved and you hit playback, we get this window. And this is the window we talked in the beginning of it, what it was, and I didn't go into detail about what it is, but now we're going to. So now we're going to load that CSV file that was saved and told us that it was saved. This is the CSV file right here. And we're going to put that in. So we call this the flight data recorder or flight recorder playback utility, because that is exactly what it fundamentally is. We flew 102 minutes and 1 second. That was the entirety of the flight that we were recording. That wasn't the whole process because we started on ground before we started the data recorder quite a ways. But 102 minutes and 1 second. Okay. If I hit play, you're not going to see a whole lot of change here, but you're seeing this number bounce around a little bit. But nothing is really going to change because as you see it down here, every second, it is capturing the time every second. So what we are looking for here is at some point, we're going to see the N1s coming up, right? So there was the engine start. I hope you can, oh, you can't see that, can you? Hang on, let me move this over. It's probably hard to see. I won't spend too much time, but trust me when I say N1 on engine 4 is starting to signify some data. It's and I can see that it's actually getting ready to start. We're at 21%, which says it started. And you can roll through this and keep rolling through this, and you will now see N1 on engine 1 starting to come up, and so forth and so forth. So you can do this all the way through. You can just elect to hit play, right? Just hit play and just let it play. And you can watch the entirety of the flight through the data, okay? And you can see there, you see our fuel flow is coming up and it's stabilizing, and N1 is coming up and all that good stuff. But we're going to pause and we're going to stop this because what I want to show you also is the analyzer. So let me turn that off. I want to show you the analyzer. So we've seen the data recorder itself. We've seen the playback part of it. Now we're going to look at the analyzer. And the analyzer is just that. It is going to analyze your flight and give you some suggestions, tell you some of the things that were missed that should have been done differently. Okay, so we're just going to look from the start. We're going to start from the top. There's the CSV file that we're looking at. There's the aircraft that we flew. This was the V1, the V2, and the VR speeds that we use for takeoff. Okay, good, bad, or otherwise, but that's what it was. Performance metrics. The flight duration again was 102 minutes. It didn't include the 1 second. I'm not sure why, but it didn't. And it gives us things like max altitude, max airspeed, and it's giving us these metrics to see, you know, the max N1 was at 100.5%. That would have been toga on takeoff, right? The max pitch of the aircraft was pitched at one point. It was pitched at 7.9 degrees. The bank was 27.9 degrees on the bank, which seems a little excessive. The max climb rate was 6,200 feet a minute. So when I'm looking at these things, and anybody who actually is a pilot, if you're looking at this stuff, please, in the comment section, educate us simmers more what we're seeing here, the good or the bad of it. Like, to me, it feels like the bank at 27.9 degrees seems pretty excessive. It feels like I shouldn't have banked. It shouldn't bank that hard, but maybe that's okay. maybe in a freighter, 747 freighter, it's good. Okay. Your descent rate, the max descent rate was almost 5,000 feet a minute. That too seems pretty excessive, but maybe I'm wrong. So here is the analysts and recommendations. It's just telling us very simply, and this is always for me. It's telling me my flaps were extended at 3, and I was going 193 knots, and the limit was 185. And I do this every time. I do not pull the flaps up fast enough. This is what this is teaching me. Every flight, if you were to look at my data and analyze it, and you'll do the same yourself, you'll see some things that you repeatedly do that you shouldn't be doing if you want to get better at this stuff, right? So I knew that my gear was up wrong, right there. You could see that, right? Flaps again. Here's a recommendation. This is just some general recommendation things that the analyzer had looked at throughout your flight and is saying, hey, these are things you should pay attention to, okay? So reduce your speed before selecting the next flap settings. So and it showed up there, I'll put the flaps down, but I was going too fast. And I shouldn't have done that. I should have slowed down to get the flap speed, then put the flaps down. Adjust takeoff speed to achieve the 175 knots at liftoff. I lifted sooner than that, I believe. Lower the gear at 1,500 feet AGL for stable approach. I think I lowered the gear down too late. I should have put the gear down sooner. Extend flaps settings on short foot below 1,500. So you can read these. It's on the screen. Touchdown target was 155. And I did touchdown right in around 155. I think. No, my touchdown was supposed to be 146. And this note here, I'm not sure that this is clear enough. I need to think about that. And so here's some events that you can look at. So you see that the analyzer is the third or the trifecta of this entire flight recorder, because it isn't just a flight recorder. You know, it is a flight recorder, viewer, playbacker, and analyzer. And it's kind of like a trifecta of teaching you as a pilot, as a simmer, how you can do things better. And every flight that I do like this, I see every flight I consistently am making the same mistakes. But I continue to review these things, and I will eventually start making some notes to say, hey, pay attention to your flaps. Don't just put them out. Like normally what I was doing before is I would just come in and go, okay, hey, you know what? I should be flaps. And I just get my flap down, flap down, flap down. And I'm not doing it based on rhyme and reason. And really, I mean, we have, we have on the ticker tape down here, it's incrementally put in there, you know, your flaps should be up. So we should be flying until we reach that speed where it says flaps 1, put a flap down. Flaps 2, put a flap down. Flaps 5, put a flap down. And I don't do that. And I should be doing that. But keep in mind, cut yourselves a break. You simming pilot newbies like me, we're one person in a cockpit where there should really be two. We're one person controlling and monitoring and watching everything, where there should be somebody there, you know, telling you, you know, put your flaps down and put your gear down and all that stuff while you're flying, right? So don't be too hard on yourself. Okay. One final thing is we have the ability to save this out as a PDF so that we can view it in a PDF form, and that's what I've done right now. And so we will quickly just take one quick peek at that, what that looks like. So you go to your programs local folder and you go into your PDFs. This is where your flights are stored. I don't have a lot in there because I've changed versions quite a bit, and when I do that I lose them. I should really try to back them up and save them. Anyways, so there is the analyst. Now this is the flight that I did. Yep. So we see, remind me later, we see virtually the same thing that we're looking at. It just for some of us we might see this and find this easier to look at than the other one, and you might, you know, be brave enough and share this with your other simming dude fellers, partners, ladies, and say, hey, this is what my report said. What does yours say? You know, you can have a bit of a competition amongst yourselves. You know, you got your flight group and you're all flying and taking off from Memphis going to Dallas, and you're all landing at Dallas. Put your recorders on and record, and let's go see who did what. You know, we're a competitive group of human beings in general. So, anyways, okay. Let me get all this closed up, and let me get this put back up here. Let me, you know, and I'll put this up here quickly too. I keep moving my other window around that I don't want to move. When I want to move one window around, I move the other one around. Okay, so that is what these two systems are. I will caution again, the flight logger is not out yet, but it will be soon. The hope is in the next few days it will be out. But the flight recorder slash playback viewer and analyzer, it is out. It is on Sim Marketplace right now. Just go, I'll put a link in the description where you can find it, but you can just go to Sim Marketplace and log in with your account there and search for Canuck Air, CANUCKAIR, Canuck Air. And you'll see all the offerings there, and in amongst that offering is flight recording. This has been Raymond for Stream Gamers in conjunction with Canuck Air Simulations, bringing you yet another video. Hopefully it was informative, both from a new product development perspective, but also flying a 747 freighter from A to B and doing the things that we need to do in order to fly this bird. And a shout out to Razor. The default 747 flies quite well. If you watch this, you'll see it. My friend Razor has talked about how this plane doesn't necessarily fly, and it misses steps and so forth. And I'm paraphrasing because he hasn't said it exactly like that, but this is proof that it does fly well. Everything, the systems seem to work. I mean, the pilot maybe makes mistakes, but in my case, but right. You guys have yourself a wonderful evening. I've enjoyed doing the stream. I will likely do more of these as time goes on, and I will bid you all a farewell, and you have yourself a wonderful evening. Bye bye now.